Today let's paint super realistic looking grass together. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now today is another session on this painting that you all know by now. To remind everyone that is new here, I have chosen this particular painting in order to illustrate my creative process from the beginning up until to the very end. So there's already a video about the imprimatura stage, the first layer of color, the background, and today we are going to add a fourth session to all of this. And we're going to focus on the middle ground with the grasses. The particularity of these tutorials is that these are longer videos because I'm filming everything in real time. So there are no time lapses at any point. Basically, you watch me paint this in real time while I comment on everything that I'm doing, on the paints that I'm mixing, on the brushes that I'm picking up. The general idea being giving those of you who are beginners or those of you who want to see more of how exactly I work, more insight into my creation process. Of course, if this is not something that you're here for, either feel free to skip these sessions or to mute me or to pick up the pace through the magic of YouTube. As you might know, there is a setting that helps you accelerate the speed of the video. Now, as today's session, I know that this is a phase that most of you particularly struggle with, me myself included, because this is where you have to be really mindful and go into details. So you already have a base that is solid, a base that you are content with, but in order to switch from here into something more realistic looking, you have now to invest a lot of time and effort and concentration, because this is the recipe for success here. We have to stay focused, we have to really be mindful of the details and to put in our time and patience into the process. And now, without further ado, let's dive into the painting. By the way, I wanted to let you know that I'm organizing a huge spring sale to mark the beginning of spring on the 20th and 21st of March. Everything on my website and on Etsy will be half price, and this includes both lino prints and original oil paintings. So if you are waiting for an opportunity to snatch something up from my gallery, there is no time like the present. Now we're finished with the far off background. Now moving on to this whole bit. The good news is that for bits in here that make up the brightest highlights in the dry grasses, we can reuse the same color that we used here. So this is something that is already done, and I like when this happens because it is just saving us time. Now I will take once again a middle-sized round brush. I go into a highlight that is half warm grey and half golden green, and maybe for a part Tuscan yellow, because I feel like this is maybe a little bit too greenish tinted, but this should be good. And start going into those highlights. Okay, so there we have it. Once again, if we need to fan it out and blend it, we will be able to. If anything appears too bright or, you know, too awkward, just need to pick up some more medium, because this was going on a little bit dry. Much better. So there's a stone here. So there's a stone here as well on the shoreline. Okay. Oops. This went a little bit larger than I initially anticipated, but okay. There we have the furthest shore, and then moving on to the one beforehand. It might be a bit too bright what I just did here, but maybe not, because it will dry down. I'm not sure. If we need to darken it, we will darken it. I see how I feel about it. Okay. And there we go. I'm going on with the same color as it thins out. I like how it goes on half transparently upon the previous layer. This is not bad. This actually helps me finding the right tone here in the grasses. Now we're going over to the shore here. I feel like the distances are a little bit off. Something weird happened here. Something very weird happened here. Never mind. There's no crying about it anymore. It's a bit late in the process. Okay. Here we have smaller grass blades sticking out. But I feel like we have the right color somehow. Where else can we apply it? This needs to be nearly a bit more green. Here, yes, something like this might be a better fit. Maybe not as drastic as that, but nothing we can't correct. Now, in order to smooth everything out, I will go into Italian Earth. I go over here because we need to get this area a bit brighter at any rate, and a bit yellowish and not as brown. Going over here in a semi-transparent layer, and I'm not making very smooth brush strokes because we need to create the illusion of dry herbs. So this would not leave a smooth brush mark. There is a little bit of texture in this field, so we need to make the onlooker feel that this is the case. Going over here. Here maybe we need to go a bit darker with some other brown tones that I'm going to bring in later in. But for now, this is how we're going to do it. Okay. Smudging it out slightly in here. Also in here to give it a more 3D feel. And then we have it somewhere at the border of this whole situation. Okay. Okay, now we go into something like our Sennelier transparent brown. It might be too dark, I don't know. No, it's all right. To bring in some details here. Right. Then really in a very light layer here to do the transition. This is the darker brown I was talking to you about before that we needed to bring in. And we can accentuate a thicker layer in here because this is getting darker. Then we have, wait, I've lost my, no, this is right. Is it? Yes. I have kind of a stone here and here, and we needed to get a cooler brown, but I will do that later on. Later on. Now here at this shore we have these same brownish hues here and here and here. Then we work another semi-transparent layer here to blend this in. We're darkening the brown with a little bit of black and going into here to darken the shadows that we have here and there as well. Getting further into those darker tones. Do we need to go down here? Maybe. I will see. Let's go into the river now so that we have one bit that is entirely finished. We're going into cool grey and tons of white. This is nearly too reddish. We need to green it down. This is better. Yes. With some indigo in it. I will first of all use the darkest tones, right? And then I will progressively go into whites. So don't worry, we will get there. This is where the river is continuing into the background. Okay. And then we just see a slight slither here. Okay. Not even that much in real life, but let's pretend we see as much as this. Okay, and now this doesn't feel right. Never mind. Messed it up. Better. Now we go in with more white in order to brighten this up quite a bit. No, we need a warmer tone because this looks too blue. Something like this, maybe. Yeah, better. So here we are mostly white because this is where the water foams at the shore. In the middle, of course, it will be much more blue-grey than at the shore. There in the middle we'll have quite a bit of white once again. We'll have to fill back in these stones which I seem to have forgotten. Okay. Here, this is nearly entirely white. Here as well. We now need to blur it a bit more in between. Okay. Once again, this looks weird. I don't know how this happened. Okay. I will now paint this back over. I don't know how I messed this up. Right, this was a bit of a mistake here on my part. Okay. Okay. And now we go back into the white and go into the starkest highlights that are here, here, along the shoreline, here, here somewhere, dragging across, here. Okay. Do we have to bring back in the darkest parts of the river? Maybe. The darkest parts would be somewhere in here, 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 in between, kind of in between. Now we bring back in the stone, and I will need some glauconite mixed in together with black and brown, I believe, but it has a green undertone, this little stone here. So we have one here, and we have one here. And they are continuing into the river, like so. Okay. I will take this color and then use it to outline the shoreline, but I'm maybe a bit dark here, so I will take care of this later on. But I believe that the border of the shoreline, no, I'm still too dark. Never mind. I tone that down now. Should be enough. So we have to outline this shoreline that goes into the distance. We can maybe darken it at some points, maybe a bit here and here. Apparently here as well. Here. Here. We blend this out. Okay, I will need to blend it more, but there's some darkness in here. And here. let's bring in just a smidgen more of black. We outline where it is darkest in the stones. So I feel like here, at the bottom side of this one, and here. Okay. Maybe smudge out this a little more. It's not as clean as that. Now we have to smudge out this a little bit more and maybe clean it up, because it is brighter than this in real. And we need to brighten this, okay. Once again. Yes, that's good. That'll do it. And like that. Okay. Very good here. They're not bad. Now we need to put a tree in here. Therefore we take a really fine brush, take up some brown hue mixed in with burnt sienna and put it in here. It grows on the shore, there it goes. Up. Oh, this was a bit thick. So I'll smudge it out, never mind. I will go into a bit of black to darken the stem at its base. Now I take some of our highlight color from before in order to correct my line here. Better already. There you go. And maybe here while we're at it. And now we will have to bring in a bit of its dry branches that are creating around here. Okay. Right. And then I'm finishing up the shoreline here. Going into the darker brown to do the outline. And we're done with this part. We can look more closely to the stone maybe. We have to redefine its line because we painted over it a little bit. I'm going in with a tad more black because I feel like there is a little bit more dark texture in the middle of the stone. Not so much at its outlines per se, but rather in the middle part here. Okay, and a little bit there, but we need to tone it down a little bit and go greenisher in here. Okay, even more so, I believe. For this brighter part, I need something that is a bit more green and much clearer than that. I'm going into our olive green, cool grey and white. And I hope, yes, that's the colour, that this is the right one, and it seems to be. I feel like I have erased some of the browns near to the stone, so I need to bring it back a little bit. Yes, this is definitely all gone with my different attempts of correcting everything that is going on, although I messed up this whole part. Never mind, I will just make something in between of the reference photograph and, well, what we have here. Never mind. A bit dark, but we will smudge it out. It will be all right. Okay. Okay, I believe that this is the best that we are going to get here. Right, now it's time to focus on the bottom of the painting. So we have to retro-engineer. We're just gonna imagine that those beige stems of grass do not exist in the photograph, and we try to focus on what is underneath. So we have to first of all lay down the colors that are underneath. I prefer starting with the darkest colors. So we are taking our Sennelier transparent brown, then burnt sienna and black in order to have a very dark warm brown. Maybe we need to add more of the black in it, I don't know, let's see. And this would be here. Okay, a little bit on the shore, and we go back with a little bit of medium because it is just going on a bit too dry. Right, okay, here a little bit, here, here, just behind the stone, here at the shore, and I'll try to not get into the whites because this blurs everything. Okay, here a fair bit of it, here we have a fair bit of it as well, even more so maybe. Okay, here, here. You see, when laying down the darkest colors here, it instantly serves as a guide to where we are in the painting, right? I make out the different details much easier. So this way of proceeding is really helping to orientate yourself in space. And then here as well, I feel like this is fairly dark. Or the bottom of the road is fairly dark. We can always blend it out if needed, so I'm not afraid of overdoing it. Okay, here this is fairly black as well. Here, this whole bit we just need to go over with lighter colors, but it is taking up, those dark browns are taking up the most of the bottom half of the painting, really. It's just that brighter colors appear on top of it, so you're under the illusion that there are clearer bits, but if you look closely underneath, it's still very dark, so you need to reproduce this as faithfully as possible. I'm even gonna take down this a notch, like here, and this is nearly black. I should bring more black into my mixture here. Yeah, better. Okay, we can outline this because there is a straight line here. Okay. At the same time, we're going over the road as well, because if we look closely, then the border between those two is quite dark as well. There's a slight separation between those two stones. Right. It's pretty dark, everything in here. More black. I feel like I really need to leave only the black here and then go over with just a really fine brush over this area later on, when I will be ready to paint in the different grass halms. But for now, I feel it's safer and more logical to block everything in with black, because ultimately this is a very dark area here. You have this bit here, this bit here, this bit under the stone as well. I need to pick up more color. Yes, and there you go. And here it is more brown than black, so I will take care of that later. We are nearly done. Just maybe the outskirts here. We are done with the blacks. We'll try it with the middle brown. Now burnt sienna. We have a speck of red somewhere in here and in here, in here, and a little bit in here, here, definitely here. Here around the stones a little bit. Bit here, bit here. Okay, so basically this burnt sienna will be the first layer, the next brightest layer, let's say, after black and before we go in with a brighter color. So I will block in everything that is too bright and put the brown back in instead. Okay. Smudging everything in really nicely. Here's a bit more tricky, but I think this is best we can do. Yeah, we will cover up the orange one. This makes no sense in my opinion. This will be not enough of a contrast if we leave it that way. Same goes for these bits, really. Now we will take a flat forked brush, and I believe that now we have to go into some more green tinted tones, so maybe green umber. Let's see, I would say that we have some greenish tints in here and here. I'm sorry, I'm very concentrated on what I do and it's hard for me to talk at the same time, but I think you figured out what I'm doing here. I'm really just following the reference photograph and laying down the green umber wherever I see greenish hues in the grasses. So I'm more or less following all the areas that are or will end up being brightest in our finished painting, because even in those really beigey grasses there are tints of green, even if they are very light and discreet, they are still there. So I'm just taking a larger area than I would with the beige and going in with the greens, more or less. But I hope I won't mess it up too much because I'm covering up blacks and browns in the process. So I hope I'm right in what I'm seeing here. But so far I'm rather satisfied with the result. Let's see. Once again, we are working our way forward from the darkest to the brightest color. So now I would maybe venture going into brown ochre. Maybe it will be not enough of a difference. We will see. Where do we have the brightest? It's maybe not enough. No, it's not enough of a difference. Then I will mix a little bit of gold green in there to accentuate the green tint and warm grey. This is maybe already too much. This is already too much. Great. Try again. Yes, this is better. Now we're talking. Okay. So. Bit of green in here, a bit down there, a bit accompanying. Here and here. A little bit of green tint there as well. On the far horizon. I'm a bit lost. Now here. A little bit here and here and here. Maybe just ever so slightly in here, but without big conviction that this is really the case, right? Just a little bit of it in case it shines through. Okay. That is enough. You know what? The stone on the bottom is bothering me. I'm going into the grey that we've mixed together and I'm correcting it because it's a stone that is basically in two halves. I feel like they look really too separate one from another, and we have to bring them together a little bit more because this looks strange to me. So it should look strange to you as well. All right. Okay. 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 Just I feel like this covered up a little bit too much of the blacks, because these are not browns, these are blacks here. Let's fix the stone as well. This looks floating and unclear as to what this is. Let's fix that really quickly. Okay, now let's get to the next layer of color that we will be laying down, which is maybe a middle orangey brown. So we will mix Italian earth with burnt sienna. There we go. It might even be still too light. I don't know. We will see. Yes, we can start working on some of the herbs, some of the stems, grass stems here in the background. We went a little brighter than anticipated, so this is maybe too orangey for the background. Let's not do this. Let's go over to the middle ground. Here we have a little bit of here and here. I'm starting to get a little blinded by the sun that has come out. Yes, something like this. And we have some stems here and here. So once again, I don't know how useful it is for me to comment on what I'm doing here, because you definitely can see it. I'm going over all the areas where we have some middle orange hues. As I've told you, I have trouble seeing because I have the window just in front on my left, so it's a bit tricky for me, but we will make do. It's important to not get too bright right away and to leave ourselves some space to lay down the really bright beigey grass halms, right, so that we have still some depth to build upon and we don't take it all away through having only 2 or 3 shades. This would be a shame. Okay. And also please keep in mind, I don't aim for a photographic representation, neither, so it needs to look believable and realistic, but I will not spend the next 3 years of my life reproducing each and every one of the grass halms that we can see here. So I want to have a good balance between the necessary level of details in order for the painting to look realistic but not photographic. I still want it to look painterly, you know. We have maybe to connect these parts here a bit better. I went a little overboard with this. Never mind. Never mind. Now do we start brightening everything a little bit? I believe we can start going into some brighter shades. Once again, nothing too crazy, okay? We won't skip to an incredibly bright hue just about now. I want to build gradually in order for us to have room to create depth. Here. hope you can see what I'm doing. And the angle at which I'm holding the brush is not preventing you to do so. But I can't see the screen, the display with the preview from where I'm sitting. So unfortunately I can't check. So I'm praying that it is enough. Okay, I have to smudge this a little more. Where to next? Here, and maybe just a little bit here. I will bring some more detail maybe into those grasses in the foreground because there's an awful lot of them here. I want to cover up a little bit of it, maybe to create some body for the coming grasses. Okay, we clean up the brush, and I believe that we can go into the brightest highlights within the grasses, but I'm debating taking up another brush, a really fine round brush, but it will take much more time. Let's do it. Where do I start? Do I start at the background? Yes, let's. Yes, I'm liking this brush for this kind of work. Let's keep this. I've also put a fair amount of medium into this so that it mixes into the background and we don't have anything too bright. So if we need to establish even stronger highlights, we'll be able to do that without going into the whites. And nevertheless, I believe that it is more yellowy and less orangey. Let's see whether this is better. Yes, a little bit. Maybe not enough. Okay, and now we have just to arm ourselves with patience and reproduce the different grass harms as faithfully as we can, because this is what I've told you guys. This is the key to success at this stage of the painting. We have to get as precise as possible, even if it takes a lot of time. This is the moment to be extremely precise about what you are doing, right? If you are not going to do it now, you probably won't do it at all. So if you are wanting to achieve a rather realist effect, then be prepared to put in some time into that, because most of it is patience. And you want to achieve, there is no magical hack for this. It's just your sweat and tears and blood, aka your time, and precision within the brushwork. By the way, I have the feeling that I am not really very methodic in my progression through the painting. I don't know why I am on this trajectory, but this is how we're all here. Okay. Okay. Where do we move next? Okay, I won't touch this bottom bit yet. By the way, if you hear someone chewing in the background, it's my dog who is fast asleep and is chewing in his sleep. Such a great exercise for patience. I know that there are a lot of painters out there who find this rather therapeutical and enjoy this part of being extremely precise and really taking your time and stuff like that. For me, it is a real challenge. I'm not a very, very, very patient person. So this is costing me a real effort here. Okay. Maybe a little bit. Bits and bobs. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I missed this bit. Wait. This is quite bright here. Maybe a little bit more here. This is where it will get a little tricky because we we have to be mindful to not lose ourselves in the details here too much. Right. I believe that's that. And for the rest we will have to go even brighter, I believe. Let's see, where are the brightest bits? They are somewhere in here. And now we will have to do exactly the same thing as we did here on the right. Good news is we can reuse exactly all the colors that we've already used previously. So let's start exactly in the same way as we did on the left by putting down the darkest areas here. I underestimate darkness of it constantly, so we need it to be even blacker. And these will be the stones once we're finished with them. We have some stones here far away as well. One here. Okay. Okay. Same procedure basically as on the left. I don't know whether it is very interesting keeping this part of the painting in real time, because I do feel like we are redoing exactly the same steps as we did on the left. I will be recovering up some of these highlights because we will need to redefine them anyway. Okay, darkest areas are down. Now we're going into the mixture with burnt sienna to have this dark but warm color, maybe still a bit darker than that. Areas around the stones here. Here. More of it with a reddish undertone here. Before I go into the brightest highlights, I would like to finish up with the stones, because it is a bit distracting to me to have just a blur of black here, so we need to get rid of it and transform them into real stones. Once again, we're using the exact same colors that we already did for the stones on the left. We don't need to be extremely precise about it because it's really far away. You see, on the scale of the photograph next to our painting, I am really zoomed in, so you do not necessarily would really see all those details. It's just trying to work them in a small way helps you give the viewer a feeling of depth without making out an awful lot necessarily of the details, but he perceives that there's something there, so this helps. There you go, and now all we have to do is add the small grasses in like we did previously on the left side, progressively starting out with some middle highlights and then progressively brightening them up. Now I think we need to have a little bit more orange here. Dark cadmium yellow mixed in with Tuscan earth to mix things up a little bit. Okay, this was a particularly long session, but as you can see by the result, it was really worth it. I believe that we have paved our way to the final stages of the painting today. As you can see, you can achieve quite a lot if you are organized with your color palette, methodical in the way that you proceed throughout the painting, and if you invest a lot of time, effort and precision into your painting. I believe that we have now completed one of the two arguably most difficult areas of the painting, being the grasses, and then there will come another session where we will focus on the road leading away. That will be equally difficult, I believe, if not even more so. I hope you enjoyed joining me on this particular journey and seeing a deep dive into how I work. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you in my next video where we'll be focusing on the figure of Georgina and how to paint the clothing and the tartan. And as always, until then, I wish you all a very lovely morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Cheers, guys.